Hey guys, Mario here. So this weekend we had the Hollywood Save the Children's rally, and it was a rousing success. I think there was about 100 to about 200 people there. And we walked up and down Hollywood Boulevard, down Hollywood and Vine, down Sunset, and we brought awareness to the plight that is human and child trafficking. We see it happening at the border. We see it happening in Hollywood. Allison Mack was arrested for her involvement with Harvey Weinstein and Oprah Winfrey. That is a fact. George McGowan, Elijah Wood, Corey Feldman, they were silenced for speaking out against the Hollywood pedophiles. That is a fact. And that's why we were out there. We were out there to raise awareness in the lion's den, let me tell you. And people looked at us funny. And some people were kind of off-put. They weren't sure. But then when I reminded them that Megan Thee Stallion and Cardi B are not role models for your 9-year-old daughter and pedophile is not a sexual orientation, before you knew it, they joined us. They wanted to be part of us. And of course, Auntee Fa was there. They were in there trying to dox us, trying to take videos of us, trying to make us look bad, which is what they do. If you're not familiar with Auntee Fa, Joy Behar, who says they're an idea, I encourage you to pick up Andy Ngo's new book called Unmasked. If you're not familiar with Andy Ngo is a gay Asian conservative in the Portland, Seattle area who was attacked by these people in black. That's how this book starts off, was that attack where he was punched in the head, punched in the face, and thrown concrete milkshakes. And I use the quotes for the milkshakes because they weren't milkshakes. They were literally cups of concrete, and they were poured all over this man. He ran to the police, which is why I'm wearing my back the blue hat, but the police in Portland didn't help him. Why? Well, when you read the book, you understand that the police in Portland have to answer to the mayor, who's in bed and aligned with these people. So if the police were to punish these people, the police themselves would be punished. So instead of facing any sort of punishment or repercussion for doing the right thing, they're choosing to let these people run around Portland and do whatever they do. And it went so far as to when Andy Ngo released this book across the country, bookstores all over the place picked it up. Well, one bookstore in particular, in I believe it was Portland, Oregon, they didn't like this book. They didn't like what it had to say. They didn't like the explanations that he gave for their behavior, which is all in their own words in here. So if you get a chance, you definitely should read it. Do you know what these people did? They went to that bookstore, they protested that bookstore, they threatened that bookstore with destruction, and they forced that bookstore to remove Andy Ngo's book from the shelves. I mean, if you're going to stop Asian hate, let's stop there. Let's start it right there. Don't be attacking bookstores for selling a book written by an Asian author. That, to me, is the epitome of Asian hate. But I digress. If you get a chance to read this book, I encourage you, because it is going to reveal the reasons why they do the things they do. Antifa's kind of like the 13-year-old kid who pokes you in the shoulder all year long, and when you turn around and you slug him, he turns around and cries to the police and cries to the teacher that you beat him up. And the reason they do that, that is a tactic. This book unravels every single one of those tactics. From the poking you in the shoulder to breaking your windows. Why do they break the windows in the AutoZone? Well, if they break the window in the AutoZone, that encourages the carnage and the destruction. If they break the window, they're justifying it because, hey, that's a public person who's going to have to then rebuild that window. And hey, we don't like the cops, so if it's a public building and you're destroying the windows, we're taking money away from the cops because a public building is funded with public funds and therefore taking money away from the publicly funded police. You guys, they're sick, they're twisted. So if you get a chance, I very much encourage you to read Andy Ngo's new book, Unmasked, and support your local LGBT conservatives, because we are out there in the front line defending your country, defending your town, and defending everyone's home from the radical left. I'll talk to you guys soon. I love you guys. Mwah! Bye, guys.